I spent months thinking my wife was cheating, but I had no proof. I tried to let it go until one night my colleague took me somewhere I'll never forget, and I saw what I wasn't supposed to see. Hi, I'm Matt, and this story is about the months I spent trying to prove my wife was cheating, only to find out I wasn't wrong, just unprepared for how deep the betrayal ran. They say suspicion in a marriage is usually projection, that when you go looking, you'll always find something even if it isn't real, but sometimes it is real. And the only reason you find it is because they stopped hiding it. I'm Matt, and I'm living proof that gut instincts don't lie, even when everyone else swears they do. Here's my story. I hope you learn from it so you never second-guess yourself long enough to be the last one to know. Before we begin, please like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Let's all be internet friends. They all said I was overthinking it. My sister, Rachel, looked up from her glass of wine and said, "You're being insecure, Matt. Claire's always been loyal." Brian, my best friend since college, laughed when I brought it up. "Bro, chill. Claire's not like that." They meant well, I think, but the second I brought it up, the weird vibe, the little shifts, the feeling in my gut, everyone defaulted to the same script. Trust her. Let it go. Don't ruin something good with paranoia. So I tried, I swallowed it, buried the thoughts that kept clawing at the back of my mind during long drives, quiet dinners, her too long showers. Claire had always been sharp, focused. She didn't play games. If something was off, she said it. But lately, she didn't say much at all. The energy between us had changed, and not in that we've been married a long time way. It was colder, clipped. She kissed me goodbye like it was something she remembered to do halfway through the motion. She laughed at my jokes a half-second late. She started spraying perfume before grocery runs, and every time I brought it up, gently, she smiled like I was cute for caring so much. "You okay?" I asked one night as we got into bed. She blinked. "Yeah, just tired." Then turned over. No kiss, no goodnight, just her back. I laid there with my eyes open for 2 hours. I wanted to believe everyone. I wanted to believe me, but something was wrong, and I wasn't crazy. It was just off. That's the only way I can describe it. She used to leave the house in sweats for errands, hair in a bun, hoodie, no makeup. Lately it was lashes and lipstick to buy almond milk. New jeans, a new perfume, sweet, sharp, expensive. The phone never left her hand. At dinner, it sat screen down by her plate, lighting up every few minutes with notifications she didn't check. At night, she scrolled facing the wall, locked it tighter than TSA, new passcode, facial recognition, no previews on the lock screen. I didn't accuse, I asked. "You've been kind of glued to your phone lately." She smiled. "We all are, Matt. It's 2025. And maybe that would have worked if she didn't also start sleeping with it under her pillow." She stopped singing in the kitchen, stopped complaining about her job, stopped starting conversations that didn't revolve around logistics, groceries, pickups, schedules. We had sex, sure, but it felt like a routine, like brushing teeth or doing dishes. Something that used to be intimate, now just scheduled maintenance. One night I leaned in to kiss her neck while she washed dishes, just to touch her. She flinched, not like I hurt her, like she forgot I still did things like that. "Sorry," she said, "I'm just my head's somewhere else." I nodded, dried my hands, went upstairs alone, because that was the thing. There was no yelling, no fights, no drama, just a slow, quiet drift. And I was the only one who noticed the tide pulling out. I checked her phone. I wasn't proud of it, still not. But when the person you share a bed with starts feeling like a stranger, the silence gets louder than your conscience. It was a Tuesday. She'd fallen asleep on the couch, TV still on, phone slipping between the cushions. I stood there staring at it like it might bite, like just touching it might break whatever was left between us, but I picked it up. Face ID didn't work, she'd removed me. That alone nearly made me put it back. Instead, I waited until she stirred and went up to bed, heard the shower, waited again. Then I came back downstairs and tried again. This time while it was unlocked, screen lit up with some app she'd forgotten to close. I don't remember what, something innocent, but everything else, too clean, too perfect. No texts beyond a few days old. No social media DMs, no dating apps, no notes, no hidden folders. It felt scrubbed, not empty, sanitized. That's what made my stomach turn. Claire wasn't the type to cover her tracks. She never had been. She wasn't secretive, wasn't careful, not unless she needed to be. The next day I told my cousin Luke, not for advice, just to get the guilt off my chest. He shrugged. "Dude, she's just careful." I looked at him. He didn't flinch, didn't ask why I was suspicious. Just said it like a fact, like maybe he already knew. We used to be a team. That was what hit me hardest, not the suspicion, not the distance. The fact that we'd always moved like a unit, silent glances across crowded rooms, finishing each other's sentences, laughing at jokes nobody else understood. Now we moved in parallel, close but never touching. Even our friends noticed. At a barbecue one Saturday, Chris and Jenna's place, Claire spent the whole time on the opposite side of the yard, talking to Tyler. Then Megan, then their dog, I think, anyone but me. I flipped burgers. Sipped a beer I didn't want. Watched her laugh with people she used to pull me into conversations with. She didn't look unhappy, just free. Jenna caught my eye from across the patio. She was holding a tray of drinks. Didn't say anything at first, just stared at me like she was doing the math. Then quiet as she passed by, everything good. I forced a smile, yeah, just tired. She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe me. Neither did I. Later that night, I brought it up as we got ready for bed. You didn't really talk to me today. Claire slid her earrings off without looking up. There were a lot of people there. Yeah, but I was one of them. She paused. I didn't realize we were keeping score. I opened my mouth, closed it again. She got under the covers, turned off the lamp, and faced the wall, again, like routine, like the new normal. And I laid there staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was the only one mourning something that hadn't even ended yet. Even her brother was acting different. Mark used to treat me like blood. We watched games together, traded playlists, got drunk one New Year's and sang 90s R&B until sunrise. He was the kind of brother-in-law people hope for, genuine, no ego, always down to help. Lately, nothing. He started canceling plans last minute, ignored my texts, said he was slammed at work even though I saw him tagged in beach photos the same weekend. I called him one Thursday, no answer. He didn't call back. A week later, I ran into him at a gas station. Total coincidence. He was pumping gas. I pulled up across from him, gave him a wave. He looked straight at me, then back at his car, didn't smile, didn't nod, nothing. I walked over. Hey, everything good? He looked at me like I was asking for more than small talk, like I'd put him on the spot. Yeah, he said, just busy. That all? A pause, then talked to Claire. That was all he said. Got in his car and drove off with the nozzle still swinging behind him. Had to pull over again to put it back. But that wasn't what stuck. It was the way he said it, like he wasn't mad at me, just done lying to me. That night Claire came home late, said she stayed at her sister's. I didn't ask. I just watched her walk upstairs with her shoes still on, purse still swinging from her shoulder. And I thought, you told him, or he found out. Or maybe he saw it with his own eyes. Whatever it was, she wasn't hiding it anymore, just daring me to keep pretending. Then came the promotion. Mr. Thompson, my boss of 6 years, finally retired. The office threw him a send-off, catered lunch, bad speeches, one of those generic plaques no one actually wants. But everyone showed up, everyone smiled, and by the end of the day I was sitting in his chair. It should have felt like a win. It didn't. I came home that night with the news already typed into a message for Claire. I figured she'd beat me home, that we'd pop a bottle, tell the kids if we had them, maybe finally break the ice between us. But the house was dark. No car in the driveway. I waited 2 hours. She texted at 9:43, sorry dinner ran late, don't wait up, no congrats. No question, just distance. And I sat there in the glow of a title I'd wanted for years, and for the first time I didn't feel like celebrating. I felt like the only person at a party no one threw. The next morning at work, I told Scott, my coworker, the closest thing I had to a friend in that building. He slapped my shoulder, big grin on his face. Promotion suits you. You need to get out of your own head, man. I shrugged, maybe. No maybe about it, he said. Come out tonight, celebration drinks, something different. Where? He smirked, private place, no pressure. I hesitated, he grinned, trust me. You'll thank me. And because I didn't have a better idea, and because part of me didn't want to go home, I said yes. Not knowing that one detour would burn everything down. It didn't feel like a party. Scott picked me up just after 9, said to leave my car that we might have a few. He was in a good mood, music loud, tapping the steering wheel like we were headed to some rooftop lounge with overpriced cocktails and too many velvet ropes. I wasn't in the mood, but I played along. I needed the distraction. I needed to stop checking my phone every 10 seconds like Claire might suddenly remember I existed. We drove for a while, out of the city, past anything familiar. The lights thinned, the buildings turned into trees. I started to get that slow itch in my chest, like something was being kept from me. Where are we going? Scott just smirked, you'll see. He turned off the main road and pulled up to a gate. Pressed a code into a keypad I didn't see coming. The iron slid open like a secret. Beyond it, a driveway lined with lights, winding towards something too big to be just a house. "You'll thank me," he repeated. The building was stone, modern, tucked deep behind hedges. The kind of place you don't stumble on unless you're meant to. Inside, red lighting, silk robes, low music that throbbed in the walls. I froze in the doorway. "What the hell is this?" Scott grinned, private club discreet, grown-up fun. A woman passed by wearing nothing but heels and a mask. She didn't look at me. I turned to him. Seriously. He laughed, relax, no pressure. "You don't have to do anything, just watch." I looked around, my skin crawling, my throat dry. I didn't want to be there. But I didn't drive, so I stayed, in a corner, tense, still, waiting for the next wrong thing to happen. This wasn't a party, it was something else. Something I didn't have language for, even standing in the middle of it. There were bodies everywhere, slow-moving, silent, draped in silk and shadows. No names, no introductions, just heat. Low laughter, hands on skin like currency. I stood near the wall, arms crossed, jaw tight. Scott disappeared into the red-lit blur almost immediately. A nod, a grin, gone. I didn't follow. I couldn't move. This wasn't my world. I thought about texting Rachel, about calling an Uber, about anything that would get me out of there faster than whatever was happening behind the next set of velvet curtains. But I stayed, because I didn't have a ride, and because part of me still didn't believe what I was seeing was real. Then the music dropped lower, thicker. A group of men came down the staircase, laughing, shirts half-buttoned, champagne in hand. One of them slapped another on the back, mimicking a voice I hadn't heard in months. High-pitched, playful, a laugh that didn't belong to him. It belonged to Claire. My chest tightened. Another man chimed in, dragging the sound out, turning it into a caricature. "God, the one with the lace, you hear her laugh." More laughter followed, freaking wild. I didn't move, didn't breathe, because I didn't have to see her, I already knew. But when I finally turned, just to be sure, just to stop myself from hoping, I saw her. She came down the stairs like she'd done it before, like she knew every step, every creak, every shadow. Her hair was messy, not careless, not accidental, the kind of messy that meant fingers had been there. Her shirt was misbuttoned, one sleeve slipping off her shoulder, lipstick half gone. She looked like a secret, my wife. I didn't move. Couldn't. The men around her were still laughing, still clinking glasses like this was the after-party to a joke I hadn't been let in on. Claire stopped mid-step when she saw me. Her foot hovered like she wasn't sure whether to keep descending or turn around and run. Our eyes locked, and in that split second something passed between us. Recognition, fear, and something worse, the absence of surprise. She didn't gasp, didn't cry, didn't cover herself. She just stood there, caught but not crumbling, not yet. One of the guys leaned into her shoulder, still laughing, not realizing the air had gone dead. Claire didn't push him away. She just kept looking at me. No apology, no defense, just her eyes wide, dark, and empty, and mine breaking, because the worst part wasn't that she was there. It was that she looked like she belonged. I walked out, didn't say a word. Didn't wait for her to explain, didn't look back to see if she followed. I just opened the door, stepped into the night, and kept walking until the bass from inside faded into silence. My hands were shaking, my throat was locked. Every thought that tried to form in my head cracked apart before it finished. There's no handbook for that moment. No checklist for what to do when the person you built a life with becomes a stranger in real time. I didn't want to scream. I didn't want revenge, I just wanted to disappear. The night air was cold, damp. I didn't know where I was, not exactly. Somewhere on the edge of town. Roads with no signs, trees instead of sidewalks. My phone buzzed. Scott. I ignored it. Then Claire ignored that too. Then Scott again. I finally picked up. "Matt, hey man, just wait." I hung up, he called again. I answered, my voice low. "Don't. Listen," he said, and his voice wasn't apologetic. It wasn't panicked. "Just exposed. You weren't supposed to see that. You weren't supposed to see that. Not I'm sorry. Not it's not what it looked like. Just confirmation that the worst part wasn't what happened. It was that they were counting on me never knowing." Scott followed me. I don't know how long he waited. Maybe 5 minutes. Maybe he gave Claire time to disappear first. But eventually I heard his car pull up beside me, headlights low, tires crunching gravel. He rolled down the window. "Matt." I kept walking. "Just talk to me." I didn't stop. I didn't even glance at him. He drove slowly alongside me like a cop trying to coax a jumper off a ledge. "You weren't supposed to see that," he said again, like it meant something different this time. I stopped, turned toward him. "You knew." He didn't deny it, didn't blink, just stared like a man trying to calculate which lie might do the least damage. I stepped closer. "So how long?" I asked. "How long were you covering for her?" He opened his mouth, closed it, swallowed. I didn't bring you there for that. I laughed sharp, ugly. You think that's better. He got out of the car, hands up like I had a weapon. I didn't sleep with her if that's what you think. My fists clenched. I didn't care who she slept with anymore. I cared who let me walk blind through fire. And Scott, he lit the match. I swung hard. Knuckles to jaw, one clean shot. He stumbled back, hit the hood of his car, caught himself. He didn't hit back, didn't even lift his hands, just looked at me with the eyes of someone who knew the friendship was dead. You good now? He asked. No, I said, but I will be. Then I turned and walked, didn't stop walking. Because from that moment on, I wasn't just a man who'd been betrayed. I was a man with nothing left to lose. I slept on my sister's couch. Rachel didn't ask questions when I showed up at her door around midnight with a busted lip and no bag. She just opened it, stepped aside, and pointed to the blanket already folded on the armrest like she'd somehow known. We didn't talk that night. I laid down, stared at her ceiling, listened to the hum of her old fridge in the next room. My phone vibrated nonstop on the coffee table. Claire, Scott, a few unknown numbers I didn't dare open. I let it buzz, I let everything buzz. In the morning, I woke to the smell of eggs. Rachel was in the kitchen, robe tied tight, hair shoved into a knot. She didn't say good morning. Didn't ask how I slept. She just set a plate down in front of me and poured coffee like it was a war ration. I sat, stared at the eggs, then said it out loud. I saw her. She didn't flinch. I really saw her. At some place Scott took me. A sex club, she was there. Rachel clenched her jaw, still didn't gasp. She just nodded, slow, like confirmation, like she'd already suspected it but needed me to say it out loud. What do you need? She asked. Not are you okay? Not what happened, just that. What do you need? And for the first time since everything started breaking, I felt something close to safe. Megan sent me screenshots. 2 days after I showed up at Rachel's, after the silence thickened and the phone calls stopped, Megan, Tyler's wife, Claire's closest friend, sent a text. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to bring this up before, but you deserve to see it. Attached were screenshots, group chat messages, Claire and 3 other wives, some of the names I recognized, some I didn't. One message timestamped 2 weeks ago. Last night was insane, still can't feel my legs. Followed by a fire emoji, then a heart. Another, we need to do another invite only soon, no randos. Just us and the trusted few. The most recent one, he has no idea, like 0. I swear it's almost hot how clueless he is. I read them all twice, 3 times, the words didn't get sharper, just heavier, they knew. Not just Claire, not just Scott. The wives knew, the husbands too probably, and they'd all been smiling in my face, passing the potato salad, asking about the kids, saying things like you two are goals. It wasn't just betrayal. It was mockery, built into every dinner party, every laugh, every casual text. Rachel read over my shoulder, didn't say anything, until I said, I can't believe she put it in writing. Rachel muttered, they always do. That's the arrogance. And suddenly I understood. Claire didn't think I'd find out. She never thought I was smart enough, angry enough, brave enough to look. She thought I'd keep trusting her forever, but forever just ran out. Claire showed up. 3 days after the screenshots. No warning, no text. Just the sound of a knock on Rachel's door at 8:07 p.m. I was in the kitchen, dish towel in hand, staring at nothing when Rachel walked past me toward the front. She opened the door halfway. Claire stood there, hair down, no makeup, face tight like she hadn't slept since the night I saw her. Rachel didn't move. Claire opened her mouth. Rachel stepped outside, closed the door behind her. I stayed frozen in the hallway, couldn't hear everything, just pieces. Claire's voice was low, rushed. He won't answer. Rachel's was sharper. What did you expect? I didn't come to fight. Good, because now's not the time. Silence. Then Rachel again, quieter. You brought hell to his doorstep and now you're knocking like it's just raining out. Another pause, then the sound of a deep breath, Claire's. I know I hurt him. You didn't just hurt him, Rachel said. You shattered him. You think because he's not screaming he's okay. You think because he walked away, it means you won. I couldn't hear Claire's reply. Rachel's voice softened, but only slightly. He'll talk to you, maybe. But not today. A few seconds later, the door opened again. Rachel came in alone, didn't look at me right away. Don't worry, she said. She's not staying. And for the first time since this started, I let myself breathe. The friend group blew up, not slowly, not subtly. Like a lit match dropped on dry brush, fast, loud, irreversible. Chris blocked Claire that night, didn't ask questions, just sent me a 2-word message. I'm sorry. Tyler left the group chat. No explanation, just vanished like removing himself from the wreckage might keep the fire off his hands. Megan messaged again. I didn't know how deep it went, I swear. I thought it was just a rumor. Jenna texted too. I'm so sorry, we knew something, but not this. That line sat with me for hours. We knew something. They'd all seen it. The jokes, the distance, the side eyes at dinners. The way Claire slipped out of conversations. The way Scott talked around me, not to me. And no one said a word, not until it all exploded. Group chats died overnight. Socials went dark. Couples picked sides. Most chose me. Not because I asked them to, but because even through the silence, people know when something's rotten. I got a text from Brian, my best friend. I always thought Claire was solid. I was wrong. You didn't deserve that. I didn't respond. Not out of pride, but because I didn't want another person telling me what I didn't deserve. I wanted someone to tell me what to do next, but no one could. Because what do you do when the life you built turns out to be an audience for your humiliation? You rebuild, alone. The kids asked where she was. It was the first Saturday they woke up without her in the house. Lily came into the living room in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes, holding that stuffed cat Claire gave her on her 5th birthday. She looked around once, then again. Is Mommy at the store? I didn't answer right away. Jacob was already on the couch, chewing cereal dry from the box. Owen was at the kitchen table, building something with Legos he didn't want help with. They were waiting, quiet, listening, even if they weren't looking. I sat down beside Lily, pulled her into my lap. No, I said, she's not at the store. She leaned back, looked up. Then where? I didn't want to lie, but I didn't want to break them either. So I said, Mommy made a bad choice, and right now she needs time to fix it. Lily was quiet. Then, did she get lost? No, sweetie. She just forgot how to be where she's supposed to be. Jacob crawled into my lap next. Owen stayed where he was. I looked at them, all three, and realized I'd have to do this every day now. Answer their questions. Fill the gaps she left behind. Try to hold something steady that she'd cracked wide open. I wasn't ready, but they needed me, and needing me was enough. She wrote me a letter, no calls, no texts. Just a plain white envelope slid under Rachel's door like we were back in high school and apologies were currency. I didn't open it right away. Left it on the counter for 3 days. Looked at it like it might burn me. Like whatever was inside might undo the silence I'd worked so hard to build. But on the 4th night, after the kids were asleep, after Rachel had gone to bed, after the house had gone quiet, I read it. Her handwriting hadn't changed. Still precise, still neat, still hers, Matt. I know you hate me. I know you'll never look at me the same again. I'm not writing to fix it. I just wanted to say something I never said out loud. It wasn't love. What I did, it wasn't about falling for someone else. It wasn't passion or escape or some new life I was chasing. It was numbness. I was angry and I never said it. You stopped seeing me and I stopped needing to be seen. That club. That world, it was control. Power, places I didn't feel invisible. I never thought you'd find out. I didn't expect to care again. But I do. I care that I broke you. I care that I broke them. I care that I turned something that started with love into something they'll carry forever. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I was wrong. Claire. That was it. No return address. No second page. Just the echo of a confession I didn't know what to do with, because she was right. I didn't look at her the same, and I never would again. I'm still standing, but not for her, not for what we were, not for the memories. Not for some fantasy version of our marriage I used to replay at night just to fall asleep. I'm standing for them. For the 3 faces that wake me up at 6:45 every morning asking for waffles, cartoons, and 1 more minute in bed. For the backpacks I pack, the tears I wipe, the questions I can't always answer but never ignore. For the science projects, the scraped knees, the whispered fears at bedtime when the world feels too big and they just want to know that someone strong is staying. I moved out of Rachel's place last week. Found a 2-bedroom with a little yard. It's not much, but it's ours. The walls are clean. The fridge hums right. The nights are quieter. Claire called once. I didn't answer. She texted after. Can I see them? I told her she'd have to talk to the lawyers. She didn't respond, and I didn't wait, because there's no going back. No patching what was never whole to begin with. I used to think love was about how much you can carry for someone else, how far you can stretch before breaking, but now I know better. Love isn't endurance, it's choice. And I choose peace, I choose healing. I choose to be the man I needed to be before everything fell apart. Not for her, for them, for me. It was strange handing them over. We met at a park, neutral ground, public, safe. She'd agreed to the terms without pushback, no drama. No bargaining, but when she got out of the car and opened the door for them, Lily hesitated. Owen looked at me. Jacob stayed seated, backpack hugged to his chest. Claire smiled like it was just another Saturday. Like everything in the world hadn't cracked open between us. I crouched down. "It's just for the weekend," I said. "I'll see you Sunday night." Lily nodded, Jacob didn't. Owen whispered, "Can we call you?" "Always." They got in. She buckled them in like she always had, like nothing had changed, but everything had. I stood there as they drove away, watched the car until it disappeared, felt something tighten in my ribs that I couldn't name, not anger, not loss. Just the weight of what they'd never fully understand, because no matter what version she gives them. I know the truth, and someday they will too. Sunday night came, they came back quiet. Lily handed me her jacket and walked straight to her room. No smile, no questions. Owen sat at the kitchen table and asked if I could make spaghetti. Jacob climbed into my lap and whispered, "Can we stay home next time?" I didn't ask what happened, didn't ask what she said, I just nodded. Because the only thing worse than lies is watching someone you love carry them. Later that night, after they fell asleep, I opened the group chat that hadn't lit up in weeks, the one Claire hadn't been in since everything cracked. I scrolled through the memories, the vacation planning, the joke threads, the pictures of birthday cakes and backyard barbecues. It was all fake, and I let it be, but not anymore. I archived the thread, deleted the old photos. And I started a new folder, labeled one word, ours. No lies, no pretending. Just the life I build now, intact, real mine. She doesn't get to rewrite me. She doesn't get to define what kind of father I am, what kind of man I am. She lit the match, but I'm the one who walked out of the fire still holding something worth saving. Peace, clarity, my name still intact, and my children still calling me Dad. Because they know who showed up every time. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. One love.